Hi, I'm Daisy and welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to wish all of you happy Easter. Have a safe and wonderful celebration. Today, I'm going to share with you an Easter bread recipe that you can make this weekend. This is a traditional dish that we prepare each Easter here in Bulgaria. Let me know in the comments down below if you also make Easter bread and if your recipe is any different. Also, if you're wondering what to do for this holiday weekend while you're stuck at home, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell because tomorrow I will be uploading a video full of fun Easter activities you can do indoors. Just a quick disclaimer, the recipe that I am showing you is a large one and makes around 2 to 3, even 4 Easter breads depending on the size, but if you want to make a smaller amount, just divide the recipe in 2 or even in 3 based on your preferences. I will list all of the ingredients in the description so it will be easier for you. And now let's start with the video. To make this recipe, you'll need 7 eggs, 400 grams of granulated sugar, 300 milliliters of room temperature milk, 60 grams of fresh yeast, the juice and zest of 1 lemon, the zest of 1 orange, vanilla, a quarter teaspoon of salt, 1.5 kilograms of plain flour, 250 grams of very soft butter, and 120 grams of vegetable oil. For the filling, you can go crazy and use whatever you want. In Bulgaria, the classic one is with raisins, nuts, and Turkish delight, which I'm not really a fan of, but a lot of people here love it. We also did one with fruit jam and dried fruits, and the third one we made with chocolate and nuts, which I must say is my favorite. The first and most important rule when making Easter bread is that the room you make it in must be warm. Don't open the door or the windows because this may disturb the resting process of the dough, and this could end up being a huge fail. So you're going to start by activating the yeast. To do this, you need to mix it in a cup or a bowl with 100 milliliters of milk, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and a little bit of flour. You want to mix this until it looks like pancake dough and leave it covered aside so it can activate. I'm very sorry, but I lost the footage of this process and hopefully you understand what I mean here. Next, you want to put all of your eggs in a large bowl and mix them well with the sugar using a mixer. Then add the rest of the milk, the lemon juice, the lemon and orange zest, and the vanilla. And here you can see a little glimpse of the yeast and how it should look like when it's done. You want to add the salt to your flour and mix them well with the whisk. This will put some air bubbles in the flour, which will then create a very soft and fluffy dough. You want to make a little hole in the middle where you would pour the wet mixture. And as you can see here, it's time to pour. Start with the wet mixture, mix well, and then add the yeast. Mix well again, and then continue with the wet mixture until you put the whole thing inside. At some point, you will notice that the dough starts forming and it gets quite thick, so you want to ditch the whisk and continue with your hands. It is much easier, but make sure that you wash them very well. When the dough is formed, take it out of the bowl and knead it well with your hands. The dough should be soft and not sticky. In another bowl, you want to mix the butter and the oil together and make sure that they're really soft and melted. Start incorporating this mixture by spreading some on the dough, kneading, spreading again, and so on and so forth until you have used all of it. You can see that this recipe is a no easy task, and there is a lot of kneading and a lot of arm pain if you're not prepared. You want to knead until the dough feels tough and you can see some air bubbles forming while you move it. After that, transfer it to a large pot or bowl, cover it and leave it to rest for at least 3 hours, again at warm temperature. When the dough has rested, you want to clear out your surface and sprinkle it well with flour. Now at this point, you will have to think about how many breads you want. You can make 2 large ones or 3 medium-sized ones like we did if you use the exact recipe. It all depends on the amount you made and how big you want them. Now because we wanted to make 3 medium breads with this recipe, we divided the dough into 8 smaller balls. To make an Easter bread that is braided with 3 different strands, you're going to start by taking 3 of the smaller balls and rolling them out until you make them into a long flat strip. Next, you're going to add your fillings on top. Again, here is where you can really experiment and add many different fillings. We added some Turkish delight and a mixture of walnuts and raisins that was soaking in rum. We also added some chopped figs. We also did one with fruit jam and dried fruits, and the third one we made with chocolate and nuts. When you're done, fold the sides and close the dough so the filling is covered well inside. Use your fingers to help you and make sure that there are no gaps or holes. Then, turn the 3 strands around. Gather them together at the top and start braiding. You can put the braid in a pan of your choice. Just make sure that it's large enough so it doesn't overflow. The pan must be well covered with butter so the braid does not stick, but you can also use baking paper instead. Then you're going to again leave them to rest for about an hour, hour and a half. When they're done, it is finally time to preheat your oven to 150 degrees Celsius or 302 degrees Fahrenheit. And while the oven heats up, brush the loaves with melted butter or an egg and sprinkle them with granulated sugar. You can also add nuts or any other toppings if you want. Bake the bread for about 40 minutes, then cover the top with aluminum foil and continue baking for about 20 to 30 minutes. And just a reminder, the baking time depends a lot on the size of your bread. So make sure that you check online for some recommendations if you're going to make your breads a different size. And voila, you have a fluffy and soft Easter bread with a nice and crispy top. We sliced the round one in half so you can see the inside. You can also see that we sprinkled them with some sliced almonds. For the chocolate and walnuts one, we used the same exact method, but we made it with 2 rectangular strips instead of 3. So there you have it. This is my family's recipe for Easter bread. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like the video and show my mom and sister some love for participating. And let me know in the comments down below if you plan on making some Easter bread this weekend and how do you make it in your country. Stay home, stay safe, and I will see you in my next video.